You've heard about it, you saw the announcement for Woodson. Now let me show you just how easy it is to get started with OutSystems Agentic Systems Engineering. Let's jump into it. Hello and welcome to the OutSystems YouTube channel. My name is Logan. I'm a developer advocate here at OutSystems. Now, you might be asking yourself, what exactly is OutSystems Agentic Systems Engineering? Well, OutSystems Agentic Systems Engineering is OutSystems' solution to addressing three significant problems that developers face when doing agentic development. These problems include the context gap. Agents are essentially blind to a development team's unique architecture, data structures, and dependencies. The high velocity changes that AI introduces into modern development workflows, thus complicating reviews, validation, and the governance necessary to make robust apps. And the integrational and operational risks that AI poses, since many AI tools just don't operate inside core SDLC workflows and systems. So today we're talking about the solution that addresses the context gap, specifically Mentor being introduced directly into ODC. Now you have the ability to create applications side by side with Mentor in the IDE. What makes it so powerful is that you have the ability to alter your applications as you see fit. Whether that's with the AI, manually, or in tandem at the same time, Mentor will understand the context of your application to empower you to build the app as you see fit. So to begin, we're actually going to go into ODC Studio and we're going to create a brand new application. So we're going to go to the top right-hand corner, click on Create, and we're going to generate this app with Mentor. And this is going to send us into ODC. So it's going to send you to the browser where we can create the application. And for this demo, I'm going to ask Mentor to create a personal banking application. Now, of course, if you don't know exactly what I'm doing, or you don't know what ODC is, or what the actual application is, I do have a video called Getting Started where you can check it out right here. So you can learn exactly how to create applications. Now, this is a little bit of an addendum, but there's more of an explanation of how to get started with OutSystems in that video. But basically, based off of what I've asked Mentor to create, it knows that I need user data, customer data, account data, transaction data, branch data, and then for roles, it's just admin. Now with Mentor, you can be more explicit, and you probably should be more explicit when creating an application. But since this is just a demo, I'm gonna go ahead and roll with this. This is totally fine. So now I'm going to generate the application. And what's kind of cool about this, I'm just to maybe piggyback off of my old video, is that Mentor is gonna be going through and it's creating the data models, the connections to the application, the user interfaces, and basically everything that I need in order to run the application. Now, if you've used Mentor before in the past, you can actually build your application here within the browser if you want to, but I'm gonna do something a little bit different. So I want to go back into the IDE to actually make the changes to the application so I can do more in-depth changes. So we're gonna publish this in order to give us the ability to edit it in the studio. If you ever used ODC Studio before, you'll notice something has changed. So in the top right-hand corner here, you'll see this little icon that says Mentor. So we can actually click on this and it'll bring up our AI to be able to alter and change our application. But before I jump into this, let's see what actually Mentor has generated for our application. So we have our account edit views, our account list views. Looks like we have a branch listing, and we have a customer list, a customer list screen, and a customer edit screen. Now that we've kind of gone through all that and you've seen exactly what Mentor has created, let's start interacting with it. What's really cool about Mentor and ODC Studio is that it does more than just understand like creating screens. It actually understands the underlying business application logic, so it can jump between the business and also the tech of your application. So for instance, let me ask Mentor, what does this application do? And then let's also ask it, how can I improve the user interface? Here we go. Now Mentor will do some thinking and it'll actually start scanning your entire application, not just the technical side of it. It's going to try to figure out ways to make my application a little bit more user-friendly for people who are using this application. But let's look. So it says, I've asked it, what does this application do? This is essentially an administration app for a personal banking system. So it knew exactly what I was trying to do. And it tells me about all of the things that it built for this application: core banking data management, so branches, customers, accounts, transactions, the ability to import and export data, Sample data and sample users were also created, and then also the layout and navigation. So now how can I improve this application, right? Total customers account, branches transactions, recent transactions lists, simple charts. So it even goes into like how to improve the list screens for usability. So the big thing that I want to add to this is probably social security number, right? Because personal banking applications need social security numbers. If you've ever worked in a bank in the US, social security numbers are a big thing. So I'm actually going to ask Mentor to do this for me. Here we go. So Mentor has responded, I'll add a social security number attribute to the customer entity and then expose it in the customer list screen, keeping it consistent with existing patterns. That is amazing. So it's going to go through and figure out the best way to do that, but it goes beyond just adding it to the screen and the data model. Like it actually tries to connect all of the screens that will now be using social security number in it. For instance, the customer edit screen. We'll probably need to be able to do some type of editing to the social security number, and it's going to figure out the best way to do that. So now you can see that there's been an update. It says changes processed. It gives you details about how long it took for the model to actually, the AI model, to be able to make those changes. But it tells us, okay, here's what I've done to the data model. So it added an attribute called social security number. It's going to be a text, length of 50. It's not mandatory, but we're going to do a quick change, and I'll show you what that changes in just a second. The customer list screen. So it actually has edited our customer list screen to include that, and the edit screen. So like I was saying before, the ability to edit social security numbers is in there. And then, of course, validation. And what's really cool is that you can see it visually as well. So it's not just a list. It literally shows you, okay, these are the two data models that I've changed. Here are some of the logic things that I've changed and what screens I've changed in order to make this work. And you can even view the changes and compare it to your current version of the application. So what the current version is before Mentor made the changes, and you can tell exactly what's happening pretty much at every level of your application, which is incredibly powerful. So what we want to do is let's change the logic of it. So when we do on our edit screen, we can see that we have our social security number. I actually want to make this field mandatory because it says false right now on the screen. So I'm not going to use Mentor for this, just to show you that like I can actually make changes to my own application, even though Mentor has been making changes to the application. So you're not locked in. If you want to make the change, you can totally do that. And so I'm going to actually go to the data screen to do that. In our customer entities over here, you'll see social security number. And you'll see in this data like entity, it's actually locked in as not being mandatory. So well, I want it to be mandatory. So we're gonna go change that to a yes, and you're gonna start seeing some errors, right? Because obviously now we started making manual changes to something that Mentor did wholesale changes to. And so it's not gonna really understand what I'm doing because I'm not letting Mentor do it. I'm doing the change completely by myself and I'm doing it manually. So you can see we have a couple of errors here. Things about setting the valid expression on this attribute. So like, down here, we basically, now that it's mandatory, we have to tell ODC, like, yes, we want to pass through the social security number. There it is. Customer structure, social security number. It is added in, and now it has been fixed in our upload customer in Excel, so that is clear. So now that we've added that, it's in our customer edit screen, so we can now add social security number, and it is also in our list screen. Now I'm gonna have Mentor do one last thing. Well, at least one more useful thing. In this case, it's gonna be, could you mask social security number? There we go. So Mentor responded, I'll update the app. So social security numbers are stored in full, but only shown in masked form in the UI, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to do. So in this case, I'm going to actually just update it and have it do that to the customer list. Here we go, changes processed, comparing and merging, one change made. So it did change the screen and it did somewhat block it out, but because obviously we haven't formatted it correctly, it's not gonna show up correctly. But that's an easy change to make. Now I want to do one last change here. So in our transactions view, or maybe our list, let's maybe add it to the list screen. I'm going to ask Mentor to actually make a user interface change. Now it's going to propose a plan. So it's main flow transaction list, new screen, get transactions by type. Yep. So it's going to go through and try to connect all of the data that's currently in our data entity for transactions and start aggregating all of it. And it's going to ask, do you want me to go ahead and implement this plan in your app? Or if we have a preference. And in this case, let's maybe do it as a pie chart. There we go. A pie chart to the transaction list screen that shows the distribution of transactions by type, and wire it to a new aggregate so that it always reflects the current data. Perfect. And we can view our changes just like anything else we've done in Mentor. You can see how it changed. Let's close this out, and you can see we now have our transactions by type. And there we go. That's how easy it is to start using Mentor in ODC Studio, and how you can start using AI with context to build your applications. Remember that context does matter, so the more specific you can get, the better your results will be when building applications with Mentor in ODC Studio. If you like what you saw in this video, be sure to let us know, and also let us know what else you want to see with the new Agentic Systems Engineering. We'll be sure to keep making videos on that, and we'll be sure to catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.